Now, this is a story that's been hotting up for several weeks, and that is the proposal to close hundreds of ticket offices at railway stations across England. The Department for Transport says it's about enhancing the role of station workers to get them out from behind their computers and roaming the station where they can offer advice and support to passengers. But lots of disabled people have told AccessAll they're really worried about losing a central point of contact at train stations. And now disabled activists Doug Pawley, who you might remember from last week, he was on our show, and Sarah Ledbetter have applied for a judicial review to look into the consultation process to try and squash the whole idea, as they claim the plans discriminate against disabled people. Now, Sarah Ledbetter has joined us today. Hello, Sarah. You're on the line, aren't you?
I am here. Hello, everybody.
Hello. Thank you so much for joining us. And we are also joined by Sassy Wyatt. I just love your name, Sassy.
Hey, everyone.
Now, Sassy, you're a regular train user, aren't you? And an accessible tourism consultant. Thank you for joining us too.
Thank you for having me.
Now, first, let's get the detail. And there's no better woman than Emma Tracy. Go for it, Emma.
Well, OK then.
That was a build-up, wasn't it?
Train companies are planning to close hundreds of ticket offices in train stations around England over the next 3 years. Some ticket kiosks will remain in large stations, but elsewhere, staff will be on concourses to sell tickets, offer travel advice or give assistance. You might think you're actually missing something because it's been a while since your local station has even had a ticket office. And that's because only 3 in every 5 stations currently has one, and only about 12.5% of tickets sold are actually sold via ticket offices. The others happen online or via ticket machines. And it's not just Sarah and Doug who are worried about these proposed changes. Earlier this week, 5 city mayors, who are all from the Labour Party, announced that they were also preparing a legal challenge.
Now, Sassy, you run the company Blind Girl Adventures, which sounds amazing, actually, all about accessibility, and you use trains as well yourself to travel around the UK. We know you're against this change, but for people that don't really get it, because, you know, the Department for Transport are saying, well, it's fine because we're just going to put people on the concourse. What's the problem? But can you really kind of explain to us why getting rid of the physical office is going to, you know, impact disabled people and really affect the kind of assistance that they give?
For me and many other millions of disabled people, we rely on the ticket offices because it's manned by a human. And a human contact is what most of us thrive on when being completely autonomous and independent. And I have a guide dog, and she is trained to find things like the kiosk. And she isn't necessarily trained to find people in high-vis jackets, because that could be any person in a high-vis jacket. And I am quite terrified of the accidents that have happened to previous visually impaired people that have even lost their lives because there hasn't been the blister paving to let you know. So if you add all that, but all the stations around the UK and in England don't have that yet, and then you're expecting a visually impaired person to quite literally stumble their way around to find a human, then the closure of the ticket offices takes away the human aspect of the support and your own confidence and independence.
What additional help do you use the ticket office for? So besides getting your assistance, Sassy?
I use the ticket offices for getting cheaper tickets because, as you mentioned earlier, the kiosk machines, they don't always give you the best prices. And as someone that travels continuously using trains for work, I'm not always going to know ahead of time what the best station is, which is the most accessible station. And so by speaking to a human that not only may know their local area, but because they have access to the system, when you're buying the tickets, then it's really good for you to just have that discussion. And one of my favorite things is, most people don't know, but if you are visually impaired and you have a certificate of visual impairment, you can get same-day returns, which is actually 50% off. So if you're with someone who's sighted and they're escorting you, you could get 50% off any day, any time, off-peak traveling, which most people aren't aware of. But then you can get that on the system on a ticket kiosk.
A lot of people are now being asked to use the passenger assistance app, Sassy, to book tickets online. I mean, how does that compare to using the ticket office?
Yes, so the passenger assistance app is good. I personally have used it. I've worked with them in the past. However, they don't give you the tickets to buy the options. They literally just give you the option to book passenger assistance.
Right.
So you, again, aren't going to get any of the discounts. You have to pre-book your ticket separately through National Rail before you then use the passenger assistance app. Another incident I had on a really personal level was where all my trains were cancelled and delayed going to Heathrow a few months ago. And passenger assistance, I couldn't get hold of them. There was nothing on their website or on their app to tell me that all my trains had been cancelled and delayed. And if it wasn't for the ticket staff that worked there behind in the offices, I wouldn't have been able to get an accessible way to my onward journey for work.
Yeah, and I used the app yesterday, and the default place for you to meet a personal assistant is at the ticket office. So, as we mentioned earlier, Sarah Ledbetter and Doug Pawley have applied for a judicial review. Sarah, you're another blindie. Tell us about why you feel so strongly about this that you've decided to take legal action.
Well, for a start off, I didn't actually know there was a consultation happening at my very rural only 2-platform station. It was Sunday. I knew there was a piece of paper on the wall of the platform of the ticket office next to the platform of the train station, but I didn't know what was on it because I can't read any print. I didn't know what was going to happen. Then it read out to me that I was going to get a mobile person that at least once a week will turn up. But I regularly use on theatre, going on holiday, all sorts of things, the train, so that wouldn't be good enough. But the thing is, I'm a disabled woman standing on the platform by myself with my guide dog, Nellie. And the thing is, how do I know that the person who's coming towards me, saying they're a member of staff, is actually a member of staff and not a random person is going to harm me and my guide dog? I also have the need a ramp put down because I had an accident 7 years ago. So I need a ramp going down because there's quite a big gap from the platform onto the train. And this is why we need it. But to say people are going to roam and they're going to do this and all that other, so they do that sort of thing anyway. They walk up and down the station, but you know where they are because they're always in the ticket office. And it's accessible for all of us to find. And the thing I'm also worried about, when I went to another station, he was doing access. People are crowding around him for information on their trains, and they didn't realise that Nellie and me was being pushed to the edge of the tactile paving and near to the edge of the platform. And that, if the member of staff's going to be doing tickets, information, access, and all the rest of it, that's going to happen more and more and more.
So is it these kind of points that you're raising with the courts then, Sarah?
It is, especially that the consultation is unlawful because the website is inaccessible. Each train company is putting different wording into their consultation, different language. It's very, very complicated. You haven't got a clue what it's doing. It's pages and pages, and if you like using screen reader, it's very hard to go through all these pages. It's a PDF. It's not available in every single alternative format, like I need audio, or people might need Easy Read or Braille or BSL or anything like that. It's not available in all alternative formats. It's not accessible for the people. There's voices that need to be heard to take part in it because we're the ones that use a ticket office and need a ticket office and the members of staff to travel on trains safely.
How does all of this make you feel, Sarah, on a personal note?
Very, very angry. I got through cancer, I got through shielding, and it makes me feel like, why did I train with a long white cane? Why did I get my first guide dog, Akiki, and now Nellie? It's taking away my independence. I have to go in taxis or family and friend like drive me around. So, for example, where I live in my village in Narborough, in Leicestershire, I just walk to the station. I tell this member of staff I'm there. They get me on the train. I can go into my city centre. I can go all the way across the country from 2 platforms. And that's going to be all taken away and being isolated, excluded, and it's against the Equality Act, it's against my human rights, but they're just going to exclude us and exclude me travelling like everybody else does. And it's totally and utterly disgusting and it's totally and utterly wrong.
And you've been applying for a judicial review as well, as we said. So what happens in terms of that? Is that a waiting game?
It is a waiting game, and then it's been put forward. I've been doing this judicial review so many times for different things. You wish you don't have to, but you have to be that voice for people that can't speak out, don't know how to do it. And if you can't get anything done, you have to judicial review. The lawyers will put this forward and ask to have a judicial review. And then once that's been put forward to the courts, you then have to wait for them to come back to you before we can go any further. And then they'll get all the information together to get going to see whether we've got a date to go to court and things like that.
As we mentioned earlier, the Department for Transport said this is about enhancing the role of station workers. It's not about cutting jobs. The Rail Delivery Group also told us this.
Train companies will continue to engage with accessibility and safety groups and take on board their views during the consultation period. You will still be able to book assistance 2 hours in advance for your journey, either using the Passenger Assist app or via a dedicated phone line available 24/7, and you will always be able to access help and advice from a trained representative. The commitment to 20 minutes turn up and go will be maintained.
Thank you so much, Sarah and Sassy. Thank you very much for coming on. It was great.
Thank you so much.
Thank you ever so much.
Bye.